Rich's body-worn camera.
Why are you giving me the finger?
What?
What's your problem?
What?
Why are you giving me the finger?
I'm walking away.
Huh?
Am I free to go?
Why are you giving me the finger?
Am I free to go?
No. Come
For
here.
what reason?
Why are you giving me the finger? What's your problem?
Am I free to go?
No.
What, do you have a problem?
No.
Do you have a problem?
No.
You don't have a problem, then I can leave.
Why are you giving me the finger when you're walking? Huh? Come here. Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
Is that a lawful order?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Because you're giving me the finger.
That's legal.
No, it isn't.
Says who?
Says it all.
Pull up the law.
Huh?
Pull up the law.
What's your name?
What's the law?
What's your
What's
name?
the law?
What's your name? How old are you?
Corporal Pritch claims that it is illegal to give him the finger, and therefore he can lawfully detain Mr. Walker for doing so. As we have discussed before on ATA, the Supreme Court held in the 1971 case of Cohen versus California that, quote, absent a more particularized and compelling reason for its actions, the state may not, consistently with the First and 14th Amendments, make the simple public display here involved of this single four-letter expletive a criminal offense. Likewise, as the Supreme Court explained in the 1989 case of Texas versus Johnson, while the weight of federal...
Bro, that is not anything illegal.
Yeah, you are. You just cursed.
Pig.
Whatever. What?
You heard me. What,
Come here.
I'm afraid of you?
Come here.
that which would... Given this precedent, it is high...
Have a good one. Pig.
Whatever. What?
You heard me. What,
Come here.
I'm afraid of you?
Come here. Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
I'm not doing anything illegal.
Yeah, you are. You just cursed me off.
That's not
Turn
a
around.
crime.
Yes, it is.
Says who?
Says me.
Says
Turn-
who?
Turn around. Come on.
Bro, that is not a crime.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Why are you cursing me?
It's not a crime.
What's your name?
It's not a crime.
What's your name?
Help! Help!
No help.
Help! Help!
Yo,
Help!
Corporal Pritch grabs Mr. Walker and holds him with his hands behind his back. When Mr. Walker starts screaming for help, Corporal Pritch turns off his body-worn camera and does not turn it back on until backup arrives. Under Section 40A 14-118.3 of the New Jersey statutes, every uniformed law enforcement officer is required to wear a body-worn camera that electronically records audio and video while acting in the performance of their official
That's not legal.
and the Attorney General's policy.
I'm under arrest right now because I was cursing at him. And he said,
you're being detained because you're acting strange.
what? That's not legal.
It is legal. He's allowed to
Who is
detain
this
you
kid?
until he performs his
So what am I
investigation.
doing though? What am I doing that made him detain me? What legal
Every
right?
time I rode by him twice, he shot me the finger. So I turned around and said, "Well, you're
Is that a crime?
problem?"
Hold
Then
on
he
a
tells
second.
me
This
not a
is
crime.
causing public disturbance.
And then he
That's
tells
not,
me to
no, that's not a
to
crime.
F off, big.
Yeah, off, big. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. He's looking at you because he's like, what the fuck you want me to do? Because it's not a crime. I know my rights.
Who are you?
I don't have to say any of that.
You do if you're being detained.
For what reason?
What is your
legal
name?
reason am I being detained for?
Where are you coming from and where are you
What
going?
legal reason am I being detained for? I need to know that. Legally, I need to know that.
Patrolman Michael James Lamontagne arrives on the scene and informs Mr. Walker that he is required to identify himself because he is being detained, even though he cannot provide a legal justification for the detention. However, New Jersey does not have a stop and identify statute, although the court would very likely determine that Patrolman Lamontagne was incorrect in his assertion that Mr. Walker was required to identify himself.
Why are you
Shooting me the finger.
Why are you
Is that illegal?
Why are you
Cursing at
flipping the bird? Yes, it is. When you are cursing in public, you are causing a public disturbance. You're being a nuisance to the public.
In what way? When he was driving past? Well, I'd like to see you guys prove it in court.
It's called causing a public disturbance.
I know the
by
law.
being a nuisance.
I know the law.
I'm not saying you're being charged with anything. At that
I'm
point,
just
he's
figuring out
detaining
what's wrong with you.
to make
What's
sure
going
that there
on?
is nothing
Make
wrong.
sure you're okay.
What
Make sure that
reason,
you're okay.
What reason does he need to detain me?
He thought maybe he thought you were signaling him down. Were
I
you
was.
signaling to him?
No,
Listen, I was
no,
just-
you knew very well that I wasn't signaling to you, right? I wasn't signaling
Well,
to you.
you bring attention to yourself.
That's not signaling.
You're acting strange. I'm making sure you're okay.
Dude, that's so funny. Like, you're not here for my safety. You're not trying to protect
How
me.
do you know?
You're walking
may
on the
be-
side of the road and you're cursing and you're flipping the bird.
Once at him. I gave him the finger once. That
you know
will
him?
not hold up.
Do you know him? Do you know him?
It's not your business. I
It is
plead the
my
fifth.
business.
I plead the fifth then.
It's
What's
your
the First
public
Amendment
law.
for?
Okay. First Amendment is for your freedom of speech. Okay.
Okay.
What does that have to do with
Was I
using
making a call to
gestures?
action? Am I calling for an action to be done against you? No.
Do you understand
You're
that
bringing
it is?
attention to
Listen,
yourself and
listen,
getting
listen, listen,
That's
listen.
illegal.
It's behavior that's out of the ordinary. Clearly, if you stopped all the way back there, I'm assuming you guys were back there and you just
We
continued
went
to
back
walk.
a bit further.
And you
back.
just
And you
continued
ran
to
away
walk.
from me.
I wasn't running. I was walking.
Once he
So
gives an
let's-
order
let's
for you
be
to
honest here.
stop, you're supposed to stop.
I did stop when he originally said it, but I was asking, is it
And then he
illegal?
told me
Is it
to
a
F
lawful
off,
order?
and he took off.
Yeah, because I kept walking because you weren't pursuing at the first. You
All
only
right.
started pursuing because
So
I said "F you pig." That's when
listen.
you got a little upset.
We're here at this point now, okay? You've brought the attention to yourself. You
Yep.
caused the public alarm.
Well,
What
I'd like
we
to
are
see
doing-
you legally
so
hold
now
that
what
in
we are
court,
doing,
because-
I'm not charging you with anything, so I
Well,
don't
I
legally
would-
need to hold anything in court.
Well, I want to know from your perspective.
I
What was I
pulled up onto the
what-
scene, so you tell me what you were
To
doing.
bring you attention to
I
yourself.
plead the fifth. You idiot. How long have you been a cop? 6?
Longer than you.
Listen,
Longer than you. I'm not a cop.
I don't understand what the point of this is.
I'm walking. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's the Fourth Amendment to be allowed to walk without seizures or anything like that.
You
Which
sure?
is yes.
Are you sure that's the Fourth Amendment? You
You want to
sure?
bet money on it?
You sure that's what the Fourth Amendment? It gives you the right to walk without seizure. What's going to be seizured while you're walking?
My body, my person, idiot. You were about to.
Listen.
He said I was going to be under arrest. He
You
said it.
said you were
I said
detained.
stop.
You
No,
said you were
where you
detained.
gonna be arrested.
So now what
Yeah,
happens?
so
now what happens?
just admitted that
now
he was
what
going
happens
to
is when
arrest
he
me.
gives you a lawful order to stop, and you do
It
not
wasn't a
stop.
lawful order, though.
And you do not stop.
It legally was not a
and
lawful
you
order.
do not stop, then that becomes a criminal offense, and then yes, you can be put under
But
arrest.
it's not a lawful order. Then I take it to court, and then he'd get sued, and I get
Maybe.
punitive damages. I'd be rich. Is that what you want?
That
Oh,
may,
you don't know the
that
law,
may be
buddy.
what happens
You don't know
if
the
you
law.
think that that's going to happen.
Patrolman Lamong Tang claims that the Fourth Amendment was not implicated in this interaction because no seizure occurred and Mr. Walker was not placed under arrest. However, as the Supreme Court explained in the infamous 1968 case of Terry versus Ohio, quote, the Fourth Amendment provides that individual
What is your
I could
name?
give you.
first ordered him to stop, and he complied.
It may be what's going to happen. It may not be what happens. Okay.
Okay, I
What may
understand.
happen is
All right, so
is
what
you
are we
may get a
wasting time
normal
for?
jury.
Am I free
and
to go?
What
Am I
may
free to
happen
go?
is you may
Am
get
I
a
free to
normal
go?
jury. No, because at this point
For what reason?
you were detained. Okay, because he told you to stop
Okay.
and you didn't stop.
Okay.
So therefore, you need to identify yourself as a part of the investigation. So what is your name?
Okay, I'm gonna need all of your badge numbers.
I
Most
will
of
give
your
you
badge
everything
numbers.
written
We'll
down
give
on
you
a
all
card.
that.
What is
I
your
could
name?
give you.
If you have an
Am
ID,
I?
that's perfect.
Am I? Okay. I'll take it to court
If you have
because
an
this
ID,
is
that's
still
perfect.
this is still a detainment.
Are you a juvenile?
This is an illegal detainment,
Are
so
you
I
a
can still.
juvenile?
I'm not going to answer that.
You have to answer.
Why?
Because you're being detained.
I said I'll give you my ID, buddy. He's such a pig, bro.
So what does that make you?
Not a pig.
What does
Dude,
that
this
make
is
you for
illegal.
saying?
You'll legally have to prove that I was a nuisance
When
to
you're
the public.
standing-
How would you do that? How would you do that? I just want to hear
Camera
your-
systems. Okay, so when he goes by in the car, okay, and he sees you doing what you're doing,
And what was
that's
I
all gonna
doing?
be there.
And what part of that caused a disturbance? That's what I'm trying to legally understand. I don't understand. Is that a body camera?
That's what it is.
Perfect, perfect. Tuckerton doesn't have them, you know that? Tuckerton's been on back order for months.
How do you know?
Because I have a lawsuit against them, that's why. And I wish they'd have body cams. I would love if they had body cams. Take out the bad cops.
It's for all of us.
Right.
It's for all of us. It's for everybody that's involved in the situation. Okay?
Appreciate it.
If you have any problems or anything, and you want to come down, you want to talk to somebody, our supervisors are always there as well. Okay?
Well, I'm going to
And
take
you
a
can do
lawsuit,
that.
so who would I press criminal charges against? For what?
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to
police
call.
officers.
You're gonna have to call and figure that out with a lawyer. You would have to
Yeah.
file a complaint with the courts.
Got it.
Okay, and then you can go from there if you want to see if you can press charges and whatnot if you
Perfect.
violated your rights.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Stay
All
out
right,
of the
am I free
roadway.
to go?
Don't give us fingers.
Shut the up.
Stay out of the roadway. Stop causing a public alarm.
Dude, shut the up. Am I
Stop
free to go?
cursing.
Am I
You're free to go.
Stop cursing. Go.
You're free to go.
After Patrolman Lamont Tang informed Mr. Walker that he was free to go, Mr. Walker directed a profanity at both of the officers and walked away without any further incident. Very little information is available about this interaction, and although Mr. Walker informed the officers of his intent to pursue legal action, it is unknown whether he has taken any steps to do so. Overall, Corporal Pritch and Patrolman Lamont Tang get an F for acting with total disregard to Mr. Walker's First Amendment and Fourth Amendment rights, detaining him without reasonable suspicion to do so, and blatantly misstating the law multiple times throughout the encounter, claiming that it was to turn off his body camera when Mr. It is immensely troubling that Corporal Pritch home of 52-year-old Lance Thornton, who suffers from early onset dementia. Mr. Thornton's doorbell camera captured footage of the officers removing it from its installation location and throwing it into Mr. Thornton's yard, after which the officers knocked on the door. When Mr. Thornton, who was sleeping at the time, did not get to the door quickly enough, they started to break down the door. Mr. Thornton came to the door before they broke it down completely, and the officers asked him to step outside. After explaining that he suffered from dementia, Mr. Thornton took out his cell phone and began to film the encounter.
We're not here for you.
Then I'm being told to put my phone down. I was told I had a right to pull it. That is my rental car. What is going? You're not allowed inside. I want to know what's going on.
I'm going to tell you what's going on.
Then you tell me right now.
Relax.
No, this is my house.
Relax.
No, you're gonna. No.
That's who we're looking for. He in your house right now? Is he in your house right now?
No, there's nobody in my house.
We're wanted for attempted homicide through officers. Okay, so that's why we're here. We're not here for anything else. We're here for that. That's
okay.
It. You got my word.
All right.
Can we go in and look to make sure he's not in there?
No, I swear to you right now. Okay, right now.
You know him.
No, I don't know him. I do not like your attitude and the way you came across. Because I said, I'm going to pull my phone out of my pocket, and they said yes. When I said I'm going to start recording, you told me to turn it off.
We have our body cams on. We're recording right now too.
I'm going to get every one of these because I do not know what's going on here.
Listen, this guy's wanted for attempted homicide through officers. Okay, a tip came in and this guy is staying at your house. Understand? Over the weekend.
Who are you guys with?
U.S. Marshals, EPD SWAT.
What's
PSP,
EPD?
Police
Department. Okay, keep going.
And PSP.
What's PSP?
Pennsylvania State Police.
Okay, I'm shaking right now. Right now, if this is true, what you're telling me,
yes,
I give you full permission, full run of my house.
Do you know this guy?
Sir, I already answered that question, asked and answered.
But here's the thing, there's a reason why this tip was called into the marshals. There's a connection between you and this guy. Now, it might not be directly. Okay, do you have a girlfriend?
Just hear him out. Just hear him
My
out.
wife is an ER doctor.
Who's your wife? Is there another girl, woman that stays here? A girl?
No.
Nobody else?
No.
Okay, who?
My daughter.
Okay, where does she stay at?
She lives in Washington, D.C. This is my daughter?
We don't know. Okay, again, this is a tip that's called into from the U.S. Marshals and PSP hotline. Okay, saying that this guy is staying here at your house right now. This week.
Go inside, guys. Go inside.
Well, we will in a second. We have to go more than just two guys, but that's why we're here. Is to show force we are.
Who's fixing my door? Because you broke it the way you kicked it.
It's not broken.
No,
door?
I saw the inside.
The door?
Yes. Whoever was kicking that door when I was coming downstairs peacefully, you had to hear my feet coming. Someone's paying for this, so go ahead, do your thing.
That's fine.
Do your job, because you have me so scared right now and so mad.
That. I appreciate that.
Do you guys have a warrant, by the way?
Homicide warrant? Homicide warrant? Yes.
No. Do you have a warrant for my house? I'm just asking so I know.
No, you don't have a search warrant for your house.
You do not have a...
You gave us consent to get...
I'm giving you consent, but I can withdraw it at any time, right?
You don't have a search warrant for your house.
Because I'm scared right now.
We are not taking anything in your house. You don't want anything in your house but this individual. Yep. Just go up.
The officers inform Mr. Thornton that although they do not have a search warrant for his home, they can enter because they have his consent, which the officers believe to be valid despite the fact that Mr. Thornton informed him that he has dementia. In the 1981 case of Stiegald versus United States, the Supreme Court determined because the homeowner did not consent, the officers were not in hot pursuit of the suspect, and no other exigent circumstances existed. Therefore, because the officers did not have a warrant to enter Mr. Thornton's residence, and no exigent circumstances appeared to exist, the officers could not enter Mr. Thornton's home without his consent. As the Supreme Court explained in the 2006 case of Georgia versus Randolph, in the 2020 case, no aspect stated that he was scared and confused, so it is also possible that a court could conclude that his consent was not effective. Although, given the low standard required to prove voluntariness, this outcome seems unlikely.
Ambulances, a SWAT truck, lots of cars, and a rude officer. What's the relationship with my daughter?
I'll explain it. I'm not with this going on. Okay.
Why? This is total transparency because I've just given you permission to walk into my house. I can withdraw it right now. So you tell me now where I withdraw. I'm going to draw on this consent. Sirs, get out of my house. I'm withdrawing consent. I am withdrawing consent. Do you now hear it? You're on camera. They're still moving forward.
You want to understand?
They're still going in. I withdrew my consent, and you guys even knew I could do it. They're still searching. I already called them out.
You can't go back and forth saying you let us in, you don't let us in.
I said, can I withdraw consent? And you said yes on camera.
Yes, you can. Yes.
And
you
did I not just withdraw it?
So I'm telling you what's going on.
Right now they're doing an illegal search of my house.
Hey, Steve, homeowners saying we don't consent now.
I have Alzheimer's. I have dementia right now, and I'm really scared.
Okay. Well, there's no reason to be scared. We're not here.
I told him to stop the consent until I got the truth, and you already told him, and it is still searching my house.
Here's the thing.
I have enough security cameras in there. They're all scared. They heard me withdraw consent, and they're still continuing in there after I withdraw it.
Mr. Thornton argues that the officers are searching his home illegally because they continued to search after he withdrew his consent. The Supreme Court has not expressly established that an individual may withdraw consent to search that they have voluntarily given. However, in the 1980 case of Walter versus United States, the court explained that, quote, when an official search is properly authorized, whether by consent or by the issuance of a valid warrant, the scope of the search is limited by the terms of its authorization. And in the 1991 case of Florida versus Gimeno, it stated that, quote, a suspect may, of course, delimit as he chooses the scope of the search to which he consents. Based in part on this precedent, the Third Circuit Court of Appeal, and citing here, Mr. Thornton unequivocally revoked his consent by explicitly stating that he was withdrawing his consent multiple times, and a court would almost certainly determine that the officers violated the Fourth Amendment by continuing to search his home after hearing these statements.
Because I want the truth. I
told you the truth. What do you mean? I'm not telling you the truth.
Let me finish, and I apologize. I'm getting frustrated. Okay. I'm standing out here in the cold in pajamas. I said, I'm going to reach in my pocket. I'm going to grab my phone.
Yes.
And I was told yes. And then I said, I'm going to start recording. And then I started hearing officers tell me, no, put the phone away. I'm not allowed to record. I have all this going on. And then they still continue to go through there after knowing right now they're doing an illegal search.
Here's the thing. I radioed to them to tell them to stop.
I stood right here. They stared at me when I told them I withdraw consent. Okay. So right now, my Fourth Amendment is being violated.
This has, like I told you, this has to do with a wanted person who's wanted for attempted homicide.
Right.
We received a tip through Crime Stoppers regarding this. Okay. And the tip said that person was at your residence from this weekend.
The officers informed Mr. Thornton that they received an anonymous Crime Stoppers tip that the suspect was staying at Mr. Thornton's house, and that the tip was the basis for their search. In the 1983 case of Illinois versus Gates, the Supreme Court held that when determining whether an anonymous tip gives rise to the probable cause necessary to issue a warrant, courts must apply a totality of the circumstances. In fact,
I know you guys are scared. You guys have somebody wanted, but I do not understand the show of force and the aggressiveness towards me because this is my home. I gave you my medical condition, and you guys still are doing this. See, they're upstairs now. You said they're on their way out.
After completing their search of Mr. Thornton's home and not finding the suspect, the officers eventually left. According to a GoFundMe campaign started by Mr. Thornton's daughter, as a result of the officers' actions, Mr. Thornton's front door could not be securely shut or locked, and his doorbell camera was broken. The GoFundMe also reports that the carpet in 2 bedrooms was ruined by a dark substance that looked like paint or tar that seemed to have been tracked in on one of the officers' shoes. Following the interaction, Mr. Thornton filed a request for the body camera footage and other material related to the interaction, but his request was denied after a lengthy exchange with the Pennsylvania State Police, who directed Mr. Thornton to file his request with the U.S. Marshal Services, as they were the lead authority on the scene at the time. As of the writing of this episode, Mr. Thornton has not received any body camera footage related to this incident. Mr. Thornton also suffered a stroke shortly after this encounter, which he believes to be a direct result of this interaction. Overall, the officers get an F. Welcome to, and it's brought to us by shortly thereafter, so lying face up in a parking lot in a pool of liquid. Mr. Garces pulled over next to the man, and when he realized the liquid was blood, he got out of his vehicle and began to administer CPR. Shortly thereafter, several officers with the Santa Paula Police Department arrived on the scene, and the interaction that followed was captured on their body cameras.
Don't go to the car. Don't go to that car. Stay over here. Stay over here. Stay over here. Come over here. That's your car?
That's my car. I was driving by. I saw it. I'm a retired fireman.
Okay.
I'm not a part of this.
We don't know anything about that.
No.
We see a gun in the car. You're not going there. Do you have your ID?
It's in the car.
What's your name?
Joe Garces.
Joe Garza, you got to relax, okay? We know you're helping us out.
Wait, but you guys aren't listening either. That's part of the problem. Yeah.
As I said, we appreciate your being involved. Okay. We're just running.
That's his knife. I took it out of his pocket to cut his shirt
Okay.
off.
And that's your vehicle.
Yeah, I was driving north. I saw the lady. They were looking this way, and I saw him down, and I thought it was beer or something. Spun around and came in, saw the blood. She said they were calling 911. I screamed, has he been shot? She said, yeah, it was. I was pulling in.
Okay.
Saw the gunshot wound to the side of his face. I did a quick check, found the gun in his waistband, rendered it useless, stuck it inside my car, grabbed his knife, cut off his shirt, and then you guys started showing up.
Okay. Did you
And I
see
started
any,
doing CPR.
Did you see anybody running?
Nothing.
Anybody
Nothing.
leaving the area? Anything?
Not a thing.
Relieve him. Someone relieves him. Get a mask.
Not a thing.
Get this guy out of here, sir.
He's a witness.
What the?
Relax. Okay.
Hey,
We
Star.
appreciate it.
Huh?
So I got a crime scene, sir. I'm a detective.
Yeah, and I'm here helping him, so step the off. Okay? If you're a good detective, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. You'd be taking care of your job.
Over here.
Yeah, you. I can't get the out of here.
Get out of my crime scene! Get out of my crime scene!
What are you going to do to me?
Get out of my crime scene! I'm gonna make you next time. Get out of my crime scene!
Come with me, Mr.
Get out of
Garces.
my crime scene.
Mr. Garces.
That's my...
Come with me, Mr. Garces.
Detective Chris Rivera arrives and orders Mr. Garces to get out of his crime scene, and the other officers lead Mr. Garces outside the perimeter of the scene. Officers generally have the authority to close a crime scene to the public, and, as the Supreme Court